Welcome, everyone. So glad you could join us for this deep dive. Today, our mission is to unpack a truly fascinating stack of sources exploring the historical, psychological, and, well, cultural evolution of the ultimate agent of chaos, the Joker. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and just a quick heads up for you before we dive in. Our sources today touch on some pretty heavy, politically charged real-world events.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, from global protests to incel culture, we are absolutely not taking sides or endorsing anything here. Our goal is strictly to impartially report the data in front of us and figure out how this character became such a lightning rod.
Exactly. And I mean, I was looking through these notes and I was actually shocked to see his iconic grin wasn't even original to the comic.
Oh, the Conrad Veidt thing?
Yeah. Didn't they pull that from an old 1928 German expressionist film? The Man Who Laughs, I think it was. And wait, wasn't he actually supposed to die in his very first appearance?
Yeah, both true. He was slated to be killed off immediately in 1940 in Batman #1.
Wow, really?
Yeah, but a last-minute editorial change saved him. And what's really fascinating here is how that initial survival sparked decades of constant reinvention.
Right, because he shifted from a homicidal Golden Age mastermind to
A whimsical Silver Age prankster. Yeah, largely forced by the strict Comics Code Authority in 1954, actually.
That makes sense.
And eventually, he evolved into the modern, terrifying anarchist we recognize today.
That fluid history really plays into his backstory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because our sources mention the Killing Joke having that famous one bad day theory.
Right.
But then there's the recent three Jokers concept suggesting multiple versions of him are operating at once.
Exactly. He is fundamentally unmoored from reality.
Yeah.
It's what academics call ontological instability. Because his past is entirely fluid, his very nature is constantly shifting.
He actively weaponizes that lack of a definitive origin, right?
He does. He famously says that if he's going to have a past, he prefers it to be multiple choice. By erasing his past, he leaves us with absolutely nothing to anchor our moral judgment to.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let's look at the psychology. When we try to put a clinical diagnosis on a character like this, what does the medical analysis actually tell us, like they did with Arthur Fleck in the 2019 film?
Well, a DSM-5 analysis of that grounded version reveals strong traits of narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay.
It also highlights pseudobulbar affect, which is a very real neurological condition. It causes uncontrollable, often physically painful episodes of laughter.
Wow. That sounds awful.
It is, but reducing it to a clinical diagnosis can actually miss the point entirely.
Right, because comic writer Grant Morrison offers that contrasting theory. I saw that in the readings.
Yeah, supersanity.
Could you break that down for us? How does supersanity actually work in this story?
Morrison suggests the Joker is hyper-intellectual and overwhelmingly aware of the universe's ultimate absurdity. To cope with that crushing reality, he has to reinvent his entire personality on a daily basis.
So his madness is actually a tactical choice.
Exactly. It's a deliberate defense mechanism against a chaotic world. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it boils down to a classic psychological shadow dynamic.
Like Carl Jung's archetypes.
Precisely. Batman represents absolute, rigid order, while the Joker is the trickster. He's the shadow of chaos. They physically need each other to exist.
So if his madness is a tactical shield against the chaotic universe, how does that dynamic play out when it leaves the comic book pages and hits actual real-world streets?
It becomes a vessel for genuine societal anger. In 2019, the Joker mask became a global symbol of anti-government protest. From Lebanon to Hong Kong to Iraq, protesters used his face to symbolize their lost dignity and powerlessness against systemic inequality.
The term Jokeria even entered the public sphere in Iraq, right?
Yeah, exactly, to describe disruptive protest tactics.
But our sources also point out a massive controversy tied to that real-world resonance. The character became heavily linked to incel culture.
Right, with critics worrying the media was glamorizing enraged, isolated men.
And it seems the 2024 sequel, Folie à Deux, tried to respond to that backlash directly.
The director effectively dismantled the myth. He intentionally alienated those specific fans by making Arthur Fleck a conformist who couldn't live up to the Joker persona.
Which resulted in a massive box office flop.
Because it completely denied audiences the rebellious fan service they expected.
It really makes you wonder why we latch onto these figures. So what does this all mean? Why do you think we cling to such a dark archetype, especially when we feel powerless against the systems around us? It's definitely something for you to think about the next time you see that famous grin.
And this raises an important question to leave you with. If the Joker is truly a mirror, always adapting to reflect our greatest current societal anxieties, what terrifying new form will he take in our rapidly approaching era of artificial intelligence, deepfakes, and total digital isolation?